Canola School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Alberta Canola Producers Commission, Sask Canola, and Manitoba Canola Growers.
Welcome to Real Agriculture's Canola School series. I'm Kara Oosterhuis. In this episode, I talked to Nathan Gregg, who is a program manager with Applied Agricultural Services in Humboldt, Saskatchewan. Nathan and I talk at the Saskatoon CanolaPalooza about harvest loss management. You know, what sort of things you can do to get that loss a little less off your combine. It's that time of year we already need to start thinking about harvest, believe it or not. And you know, lots of people, you spend so much time getting that crop perfect, nurturing it all year, that you don't always think about your losses. You know, we want to try and get as much as we can into the bin, and Nathan has some tips for you on what exactly you can do to get the most out of your crop.
Yeah, I guess what our message is here today is to talk about the importance of harvest loss management, and really what the message we're trying to preach to some extent is that you should be checking, and you need to have some knowledge of what those harvest losses are, and more importantly than that is that often checking on the ground isn't the optimal method and isn't going to give you an accurate reading of what that loss is. So we've got some plots here that you can see where we've distributed some seed at a established loss level, and we've done it in regular canola seed and also in treated canola seed that's blue. So the visual is to show that it's very hard to find those dark seeds on dark soil, and especially throw some chaff and some residue spread over top of that, and the way those seeds bounce in and into cracks and under leaves and things like that, it becomes very hard to find them. And if you look at the plots here, you can really see that what maybe looks like an okay amount of loss in the dark seeds, suddenly you put them in blue and they show up a lot better, and oh boy, maybe there's more loss than we thought.
And on average, what do you often see for loss?
We've seen, unfortunately, we've seen quite a range. I've worked with producers that we've done combine testing, and you go out and they've done their homework and they've checked and they're at acceptable, in the 1 to 2% kind of range, which depending on the yield is somewhere down in the half to a bushel or two kind of thing. And I've worked with farmers where it's been all the way up to 15 bushels per acre, and when you prove that to them and show them, their chins drop and they think about all the acres they've harvested that way.
So what do you recommend farmers do to prevent these losses?
Really, what I recommend is that you check. I mean, that's the basis of the message here is check. It doesn't matter what format. I can tell you, good methods to do it. I can tell you better methods, and I can tell you the best one type of thing. But checking and getting out of the seat is the first step. And most people are somewhat resistant, and we all are. It's easy to stay in the air-conditioned cab. It's cool. It's calm. It's not wind blowing in your face and blowing dust and chaff around. So it's a lot easier to go, nah, that feels right. And too many times people, I think, rely on the loss monitor in the combine. It's a tool, but it's no good unless you sort of calibrate it, validate it, and really ground truth it to say this is what that loss level means. So the message that I want to put out is check in any format you can, and throwing a single pan is better than doing nothing, but having a drop pan that's the full width of your discharge, that's disengaging the chopper before you do it, all those things, you're going to get a better reading or measurement that you can have a greater confidence in, but check in some format. I'd rather people sort of make informed decisions, even if that informed decision is I'm still going to go as fast and I'm not going to change any settings. At least you're doing it consciously, because there's nothing worse, like I say, than sort of being surprised at the end and thinking back, oh God, I did 1,000 acres in those settings and I didn't realize I was throwing that much out. So at least by checking you can know, and you can consciously make that decision that I'm okay with this. This is the amount that's acceptable to me on this day, given what the weather is going to be or the rain that's coming. You get to make that decision rather than having it made for you and just blindly going along with it.
And you said it's often hard to see in the ground, what's laying there. What are some options for checking?
Well, I guess so. Like I say, number one is a loss pan drop method of some sort. So that can be, oftentimes you see people that walk along behind with a scoop shovel. I don't recommend that one. You have to get in tight to the moving parts and the tires, and it's just not safe. It's dirty. You'll see other people that have square foot pans that will throw under the combine as it goes by. Again, it's a sample. It's good, but it's not as reliable. It's not as accurate because residue distribution and seed loss is not uniform across the width of discharge. So if you're just going to throw a pan out behind the spreader, you could hit the one spot where there's no seed, or you could hit the spot where all the seed is, and then that's not representative of all the 40 feet across the cut width. It's representative of that foot. So by doing a method where you actually disengage the chopper and you have a drop pan that is centered on the combine and collects the full width of the discharge, you're collecting all the loss from whatever size of header you have on the front. All of that loss is now concentrated in that pan, and so you can do the math. And really, people are often afraid of the math. You only do the math sort of the first couple times. After that, you can look at it visually and you can say, oh, when there's that much seed in the corner of the pan, I need to slow down, right? And you don't have to get it down to the nitpicky details, but by doing it in a proper method, you can have confidence that what you're seeing is real, you can trust it, and then really it comes down to you can make informed decisions, and then you can decide, okay, I'm pulling back on the throttle because I don't want to lose that much, right? So that's what it comes down to.
Is that what you'd say the main reason for loss often is speed?
Generally, everything's related. Generally speed is the culprit because it impacts all of the other settings that you could do with your combine. So weather is a big one, the humidity levels, the moisture in the crop, all those things are definitely going to impact how the combine performs and what your loss level will be. But the general one is usually it's the operator behind the throttle, behind the stick, keeps pushing it forward. I get it. People have it's a pressured season and you want to get done, but it's sort of easy to keep pushing forward on the stick when maybe you'd be better off to just go to slow down and go a little bit slower and retain more of that grain on a marginal basis. Doing that math, you'll find out you might be further ahead.